The moment Earth made its decision, ripples were sent across the galaxy. The message was clear: Earth bans the Galactic Empire. No alien entry allowed. This bold statement wasn't just a political maneuver, it was a declaration of humanity's sovereignty and resilience. In a bustling meeting room deep within Earth's Strategic Command Center, Captain Helena Granger sat with her team. Maps and data filled the screens around them, showing the borders of the Galactic Empire stretching dangerously close to Earth's solar system. "We knew this day was coming," Helena said, her voice calm but edged with determination. "The Empire thinks they can control everything, but they've underestimated us." Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Connor Voss, nodded, eyes narrowed. "They believe we're too isolated, too weak to resist, but they haven't seen what we're capable of." Helena stood, pacing in front of the screen. That's about to change. The Galactic Empire had grown arrogant over the centuries, expanding its reach without much opposition. It controlled countless planets, and its military might was unquestioned. But Earth, hidden away in a relatively remote sector of the galaxy, was not like the others. Humans had spent centuries advancing in secret, preparing for a moment like this. In the depths of the solar system, humanity's defenses were mobilizing. Massive warships, cloaked in invisibility, silently glided through space, positioning themselves in strategic locations. The Excalibur, Earth's most advanced warship, stood as a symbol of their resolve. Helena's team was on the front lines of this defense effort. She was young, but her mind was sharp and her experience in interstellar combat was unmatched. "We've deployed the first wave of planetary shields," Connor said, glancing at the data streaming in from their outposts on Mars and Europa. Helena's eyes flickered to the map. "Good, but we need to be prepared for more than just a direct assault. The Empire might try to negotiate, but make no mistake, they'll send scouts to test our strength." True to Helena's prediction, it wasn't long before an Empire scout ship arrived on the edges of Earth's territory. The ship was sleek and fast, a technological marvel of the Empire's fleet, designed to gather intelligence without engaging in battle. But Earth's sensors were ready. The scout ship hadn't even crossed into the inner system when it was detected. "Scout ship approaching," a technician reported from his station. "It's an Empire vessel." Helena exchanged a glance with Connor. "They're testing us," she said quietly, before giving the order. "Don't engage, but keep an eye on them. Let's to see what they're planning." The scout ship hovered just outside the boundaries, observing, recording data. But after a few tense hours, it withdrew, likely transmitting everything it had seen back to the Empire. "They're underestimating us," Connor said with a grin. "Let them think we're weak." Helena knew the real challenge was still ahead. The Empire would not sit idly by after Earth's bold move. It was only a matter of time before they sent a full fleet to deal with this rebellion. "We need to keep them on their toes," Helena said during another strategy meeting. "The longer we can delay them, the more time we have to build up our defenses." Connor leaned forward, eyes gleaming with excitement. "I have an idea. What if we strike first?" Helena raised an eyebrow. "You want to provoke them?" "Not directly," he replied, "but we could disrupt their supply lines, take out their communication hubs. They'll be scrambling to figure out what's happening." A murmur of agreement swept through the room. Helena considered it for a moment. "Do it," she finally said, her voice resolute. Earth's forces moved swiftly, like shadows in the vast expanse of space. The decision to strike first had been a calculated gamble, one that could either buy humanity precious time or ignite the full wrath of the Galactic Empire. Helena knew the risks, but she also understood the importance of catching their enemy off guard. For centuries, the Empire had grown accustomed to its dominance, its supply lines unchallenged and its communication networks unbreakable. Today, that illusion of invulnerability was about to be shattered. In the blackness of space, a squadron of small, agile Earth ships designed for stealth moved with deadly precision. Each one was equipped with the most advanced cloaking technology humanity had developed, a technology that rendered them nearly invisible to the Empire's scanners. These ships had no need for heavy armor or massive cannons. Their power lay in their speed, their ability to slip past defenses unnoticed, and their singular purpose, to cripple the Empire's vast logistical network. The *** Phantom Squadron ***, a fitting name for Earth's invisible fleet, approached their first target, a critical Empire supply convoy. The convoy consisted of several massive cargo ships, each carrying vital resources meant to support the Empire's war effort. These were no ordinary freighters. They were heavily guarded by escort ships, bristling with weapons and shields. But the *** Phantom's *** had the element of surprise. Phantom leader to all units, Captain Lyra Denton's voice crackled through the secure communication channel. She was the commanding officer of the *** Phantom Squadron ***, and one of the most skilled pilots Earth had to offer. We've reached the target zone. Maintain formation and engage on my mark. The convoy loomed ahead, a small fleet of slow-moving behemoths unaware of the invisible threat creeping toward them. The *** Phantom's *** had been trained for this exact scenario. Their mission wasn't to engage in a drawn-out battle. They were surgical instruments, designed for quick, decisive strikes. Phantom 2, status report, Lyra called out. We're in position, Phantom leader, came the calm voice of Lieutenant Jax Voss, a tactical genius who had personally overseen the development of Earth's cloaking technology. Their scanners are picking up nothing. We're cleared to proceed. Lyra allowed herself a small smile. Everything was going according to plan. The Empire, so used to its position of power, had grown complacent. They had never faced an enemy quite like humanity, an enemy that thrived on innovation, ingenuity, and the element of surprise. Phantom Squadron, Lyra said, her voice steady, commence the attack. Without warning, the cloaked Earth ships struck. Explosions erupted across the convoy as precision missiles hit their targets with devastating accuracy. Cargo ships, laden with supplies, burst into flames as their hulls were torn apart. The Empire's escorts scrambled to respond, but they were too slow. By the time they detected the *** Phantom's ***, it was already too late. Targets neutralized, Jax reported, watching the fiery wreckage through his display screen. The convoy's in chaos. They don't know where we're hitting them from. Lyra nodded, satisfied with the result. Good work, Phantom Squadron. Let's not stick around for the fireworks. Move to the next target. As the *** Phantom's *** disengaged from the now destroyed convoy, they left behind a scene of utter devastation. The Empire's supply lines had been struck a critical blow, one they would feel in the days to come. But this was only the beginning. Back on Earth, deep within the Strategic Command Center, Captain Helena Granger monitored the operation. Every strike was being relayed to her in real time, and the reports were exactly what she had hoped for. The Empire had been caught off guard, their arrogance blinding them to the threat Earth posed. Helena watched the data streams on the large display in front of her. The locations of Empire supply convoys, communication outposts, and relay stations lit up across the galactic map. Earth's forces had meticulously planned each strike, ensuring that no critical system was left unscathed. Another success, Connor Voss said, standing beside her. He was beaming with satisfaction, his eyes scanning the results. The Empire won't know what hit them. Helena glanced at him, her expression measured. They'll figure it out soon enough. We've gained the upper hand for now, but this is only a temporary advantage. Connor's grin faded slightly, replaced with a more serious look. You think they'll retaliate quickly. Helena nodded. The Empire isn't just going to sit back and let us disrupt their operations. They'll strike back, and hard. We need to be ready for their response. She turned back to the display, her mind already racing with the next steps. The element of surprise had been theirs, but it wouldn't last forever. The Empire had vast resources, and once they realized what was happening, they would unleash their full might. We have to keep them off balance, Helena said, more to herself than to Connor. We need to hit them again before they can regroup. Connor folded his arms, his mind already working through the logistics. What's our next move? Another convoy strike? Helena shook her head. No, we've hit their supply lines hard enough for now. We need to go after their communications next. Disrupt their ability to coordinate. She tapped a few commands into her console, bringing up a map of the Empire's communication network. Several key relay stations appeared on the screen, each one critical to the Empire's ability to maintain control over its far-flung territories. These stations are the backbone of their communications, Helena explained. Without them, the Empire will be cut off from their outer systems. It'll create chaos. Connor studied the map, his eyes narrowing as he considered the plan. It's risky. Those stations are likely to be better defended than the convoys. That's why we need to move quickly, Helena replied. If we can take out even a few of these stations, it'll cripple their ability to respond. They'll be flying blind. Connor nodded, understanding the stakes. I'll have the Phantom Squadron prepped for the next mission. As Connor moved to relay the orders, Helena remained at her station, her gaze fixed on the galactic map. She knew the Empire would retaliate, and when they did, it would be with overwhelming force. But Earth wasn't defenseless. Every strike they made against the Empire was a reminder that humanity was not to be underestimated. The next phase of the operation began almost immediately. While the Phantoms refueled and rearmed, Earth's intelligence teams worked around the clock, analyzing the data from the convoy strike. They were looking for patterns, weaknesses in the Empire's response that could be exploited. Within hours, the Phantom Squadron was ready to launch again. This time, their target was an Empire communication relay station located deep within contested space. The station was heavily fortified, with defense turrets and fighter patrols constantly circling its perimeter. But the Phantoms had faced worse odds before. As the squadron approached the station, cloaked and undetected, Captain Liara Denton once again led the charge. Same plan as before, she said over the comms. We hit them fast, disable their communications, and get out. The Phantoms moved in, their weapons primed, and in a matter of moments, another key piece of the Empire's war machine would be reduced to rubble. Back on Earth, Helena watched as the plan unfolded. The Empire's reaction was coming, and when it did, humanity would be ready. Helena's prediction was frighteningly accurate. Within days, the Empire's retaliation came swift and brutal. The sight of the enemy fleet arriving at Earth's doorstep was nothing short of awe-inspiring and terrifying. Massive warships, each the size of entire cities, loomed in the skies, their dark hulls casting long, ominous shadows over Earth's largest cities. The message was clear: submission or destruction. But Earth wasn't caught off guard. In fact, they had prepared for this moment with a determination forged from centuries of resilience. Inside the Strategic Command Center, Helena stood at the helm, her eyes focused on the incoming fleet as warning alarms blared. She had anticipated this response, but the sheer scale of the Empire's force was daunting. Still, there was no room for doubt or hesitation. Activate the planetary shields, Helena commanded, her voice calm yet resolute. All across Earth, massive shield generators powered up, hidden in fortified underground facilities. These generators had been Earth's most closely guarded secret, an innovation built through humanity's most advanced technological breakthroughs. Slowly, a shimmering, translucent barrier began to form around the planet, glowing faintly as it wrapped the entire globe in its protective embrace. The Empire's fleet wasted no time. Massive laser batteries on their warships fired, unleashing streams of energy powerful enough to obliterate entire cities. The beams struck the planetary shields with a deafening roar, causing shockwaves that rippled through the atmosphere. Yet the shields held firm, absorbing the attacks as though they were mere raindrops against a window. Inside the command center, the tension was palpable. The crew watched in anxious silence as the Empire's warships unleashed their full arsenal against the shields. Explosions of light filled the sky, but the shimmering barrier remained unbroken. "We've bought ourselves some time," Connor said, standing beside Helena. His usual confidence was tempered by the gravity of the situation. "But they'll keep pounding us until something gives. These shields can't hold forever." Helena nodded, her face set in grim determination. "We knew this would happen. The Empire won't stop until they break through, but they'll pay a heavy price for every inch they try to take." As Earth's shields absorbed the brunt of the Empire's assault, the defenders didn't remain idle. Helena had no intention of sitting behind the barrier, waiting to be overrun. Earth had always thrived under pressure, and this time would be no different. "Prepare the planetary defense systems," she ordered, "and launch the orbital defense platforms." Across Earth's orbital defense grid, hundreds of automated weapons platforms sprang to life. These platforms, equipped with railguns, missile batteries, and pulse cannons, had been positioned in orbit long before the Empire's arrival, hidden within the debris fields and disguised as space junk. Now they revealed their true purpose. In unison, the platforms locked onto the nearest Empire ships and opened fire. Massive railgun slugs, traveling at incredible speeds, slammed into the hulls of the Empire's warships. Pulse cannons unleashed powerful energy blasts that seared through shields, while swarms of missiles shrieked through space, targeting weak points in the enemy fleet. The Empire's fleet, caught by surprise by the ferocity of Earth's counterattack, scrambled to respond. The warship's shields flickered as they absorbed the initial hits, but Earth's orbital defenses were relentless. Several smaller Empire vessels took direct hits, their hulls breaking apart in fiery explosions. Inside the command center, the crew cheered as the first of the Empire's ships went down, its burning wreckage falling toward the planet's atmosphere. "One down." Connor muttered under his breath. "Only about 100 more to go." Helena didn't smile. Her eyes remained on the battle unfolding above them, her mind already racing ahead. The Empire's show of force was overwhelming, but Earth's strategy had always been about survival. They didn't need to win outright. They needed to survive long enough to inflict serious damage, to make the Empire reconsider the cost of this war. "Keep the pressure on," Helena said, her voice steady. "Target their support ships. We need to cut off their ability to resupply and repair." The defense platforms shifted focus, targeting the Empire's logistics vessels, smaller, less defended ships that carried fuel, munitions, and personnel. Earth's forces knew that without these ships, the Empire's massive warships would be vulnerable, unable to sustain prolonged combat. As the battle raged on, the Empire's response was swift and brutal. Several of their capital ships unleashed volleys of smaller fighter craft, swarming toward Earth's defense platforms in an attempt to neutralize the threat. Earth's fighters scrambled to intercept, dogfights breaking out in the upper atmosphere as the skies above Earth lit up with the flash of weapons fire. Inside the command center, Helena's focus was unshakable. She could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on her, but she knew there was no turning back now. Every decision mattered. Every strike counted. "They're sending in ground troops," one of the officers reported, his voice tinged with alarm. "Drop pods are being launched toward the surface." Helena's eyes narrowed. "Where are they landing?" The officer quickly brought up a map, showing the projected landing sites of the Empire's forces. Several key locations across Earth were being targeted: major cities, military bases, and strategic infrastructure. "They're trying to spread us thin," Helena muttered. "They know they can't break through the shields yet, so they're going for a ground assault." Connor stepped up beside her, his expression grim. "We've got troops ready, but if they send in enough forces—" Helena cut him off. "We can't let them gain a foothold. Activate the ground defense grid. Scramble the reserves." All across Earth, automated defense systems powered up. Massive anti-aircraft batteries and missile turrets emerged from hidden bunkers, tracking the incoming drop pods. As the first wave of pods descended through the atmosphere, they were met with a barrage of firepower. Explosions filled the sky as dozens of pods were destroyed before they could even reach the surface. But some made it through. Empire ground troops, clad in advanced armor and armed with energy weapons, began to land in key locations. The invasion had begun. "Deploy the counterattack teams," Helena ordered, her voice firm. "We can't let them gain any ground. Every inch they take will cost us later." On the ground, Earth's soldiers were ready. From underground bunkers and fortified positions, they emerged, engaging the invading Empire forces with everything they had. Human ingenuity, resilience, and sheer determination were on full display as Earth's troops fought back with a mixture of conventional weapons and advanced tech developed in secret labs. Even as the battle raged in the skies, on the ground, and across Earth's orbital defenses, Helena knew this was just the beginning. The Empire's might was vast, but humanity had something the Empire underestimated: an unbreakable will to survive. As the shields flickered and the battle intensified, Helena took a deep breath, her mind racing through strategies. She knew they couldn't hold out forever, but for every strike the Empire landed, Earth would make them bleed. "We'll make them regret ever coming here," she muttered softly. The battle had dragged on for what felt like an eternity. Hours stretched into an endless blur of explosions, flashing lights, and the constant roar of warfare. Both Earth and the Empire had suffered staggering losses. The once pristine skies were now littered with debris, remnants of shattered ships, both human and alien, floating in the void like a grim reminder of the conflict's cost. Earth's orbital defenses were stretched to their limits, and the planetary shields flickered ominously, showing signs of strain. Yet through it all, Earth's forces refused to yield. Every soldier, pilot, and civilian seemed to fight with an unshakable resolve, driven by the knowledge that this wasn't just a battle for survival. It was a battle for their home, their future, and everything they held dear. Inside the command center, Helena remained a beacon of calm amidst the storm. She stood at the heart of it all, her hands gripping the edge of the control panel as she watched the battlefield unfold on the massive holoscreens. Every now and then, a new report would come in, another loss, another victory, another decision to make. She made them quickly and decisively, guiding her team through the chaos like a seasoned captain steering a ship through the roughest of seas. "Shields are at 20%, one of the officers reported, his voice strained but steady. "We're losing ground in Sector 7. The Empire's pushing hard." Connor, who had been overseeing the defense grid, stepped forward. "We can divert power from the secondary generators to reinforce the shields, but it won't hold for long." Helena's mind raced. Every option seemed to come with a cost, and time was running out. The Empire's forces were relentless, hammering Earth's defenses with an intensity that suggested they were willing to pay any price to crush humanity once and for all. But Helena knew better. This was more than just another war for the Empire. It was about dominance, about proving that no species could stand against them. Yet Earth had done the unthinkable. They had not only stood up to the Empire, but had struck back in ways that the invaders had never anticipated. "They're desperate," Helena said quietly, her gaze fixed on the screens. "They didn't expect us to hold out this long. We've already won half the battle by showing them that we won't break." Connor looked at her, brow furrowed. "But how much longer can we hold out? We've lost too many fighters, and our defenses are stretched to the breaking point." Helena turned to him, her expression resolute. "We've come too far to fail now. We won't give them the satisfaction of seeing us fall." The officers around her straightened, drawing strength from her words. Helena wasn't just their commander. She was the embodiment of Earth's defiance. Every order she gave, every decision she made was rooted in the unshakable belief that humanity could and would prevail. As the minutes ticked by, the Empire's forces continued their relentless assault. The shields flickered dangerously, and several defense platforms were destroyed in fiery explosions. On the ground, Earth's soldiers were locked in brutal combat with the invading ground troops. The streets of major cities had turned into war zones, with civilians and military alike doing everything they could to repel the invaders. In one city, a group of civilians had taken up arms, barricading the streets and turning their homes into fortresses. In another, a squad of Earth's special forces ambushed an Empire outpost, cutting off their supply lines and forcing the enemy to retreat. Everywhere, the people of Earth fought with a ferocity that no one, not even the Empire, had anticipated. The turning point came not from a single decisive blow, but from the collective efforts of humanity. It wasn't Earth's technological might that shifted the tide of battle. It was its people. From the soldiers on the front lines to the engineers repairing the damaged shields, from the pilots fighting in the skies to the civilians defending their homes, everyone played their part. Inside the command center, Helena continued to issue orders, her voice steady and clear despite the overwhelming odds. She could see the cracks in the Empire's strategy. Their forces were powerful, but they lacked the unity and purpose that Earth's defenders had. The Empire's soldiers were fighting for conquest, but Earth's people were fighting for survival. "Helena, we've got something," Connor said suddenly, his eyes scanning the data on his console. "The Empire's warships. They're pulling back." Helena's eyes narrowed. Why would they retreat now? Connor tapped a few buttons, bringing up a feed of the enemy fleet. Sure enough, several of the Empire's largest warships were beginning to reposition, their weapons powering down. It was a tactical withdrawal, not a full retreat, but it was a sign that the Empire's resolve was weakening. "They're losing their nerve," Helena said softly, more to herself than anyone else. "They didn't expect us to last this long. We've bled them dry." Connor glanced at her, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. Could this be it? Could we actually win? Helena didn't answer right away. Instead, she watched as the Empire's fleet slowly began to pull back, their once overwhelming presence now diminished. Earth's orbital defenses continued to fire, but the attacks were less frantic now, more measured. The Empire's warships, battered and bruised from hours of fighting, were retreating. "They're testing us," Helena finally said. "They want to see if we'll chase them, but we're not falling for that." She turned to her team. "Keep the pressure on, but don't overextend. We'll let them leave, but we're going to make sure they remember this day." For the next few hours, the battle continued, but the intensity began to wane. Earth's forces, though weary, maintained their discipline. Every inch the Empire tried to reclaim was met with fierce resistance. And slowly, but surely, the invaders began to retreat for real. In the skies above Earth, the final Empire warship turned and disappeared into the void, leaving behind the wreckage of countless others. The battle was over. Inside the command center, a stunned silence fell over the room. For a moment, no one spoke, as if they couldn't quite believe what had just happened. "We did it," Connor whispered, his voice filled with awe. "We actually did it." Helena exhaled slowly, the weight of the battle finally lifting from her shoulders. But there was no celebration in her eyes, only the quiet satisfaction of a job well done. "This isn't the end," she said, her voice calm but firm. "The Empire will be back, but now they know the truth." Connor nodded, his expression hardening. "They know we're not to be underestimated." Helena's gaze swept across the room, taking in the faces of her team. Exhausted but unbroken, they had stood together against the greatest threat humanity had ever faced, and they had won. "The galaxy will never forget this day," Helena said, her voice carrying the weight of the moment. "And neither will we." As the sun began to rise over the battered cities of Earth, the message was clear. Humanity was not to be underestimated. The final stand had become a symbol of their unyielding spirit, and the galaxy would never look at them the same way again. The war had ended, but its echoes would resonate for generations. In the months that followed the battle, Earth began the slow process of rebuilding. Cities that had been turned into war zones were restored, and the deep scars left on the planet's surface were healed. The cost of victory was steep, with countless lives lost and entire regions devastated, but humanity had not only survived, it had thrived. In the command center where the final battle had been directed, Helena stood alone, gazing out at the stars. The room, once filled with frantic activity and the hum of war machines, was now silent. She felt a weight on her shoulders, not of regret, but of responsibility. Earth had won, but the future remained uncertain. The Empire had been defeated, but not destroyed, and they would surely return one day. For now, however, humanity had bought itself time. Time to prepare, time to grow stronger, time to make its mark on the galaxy. Behind her, the door slid open with a quiet hiss, and Connor entered, walking with a calm confidence that had developed over the course of the war. "The council's ready for you," he said softly. "They want to discuss the next steps." Helena turned to face him, a small smile touching her lips. "Always another battle to fight," she said, her voice tinged with weariness, but also with a quiet strength. Connor chuckled, but there was a seriousness in his eyes. "This one's different. It's not just about Earth anymore. The galaxy is watching." Indeed, the galaxy was watching. News of Earth's victory had spread far and wide, and species that had once been allies or vassals of the Empire were now questioning their allegiances. Some had even reached out to Earth, seeking alliances, curious to know more about the humans who had defied the might of an empire. Helena had received countless messages from other worlds, some offering congratulations, others expressing fear. But there was one sentiment shared by all: respect. For the first time in recorded history, humanity was no longer viewed as a backwater species, isolated on a small blue planet. They had earned their place on the galactic stage. Outside, in the cities that had risen from the ashes of war, life continued. People went back to work, children played in the streets, and the hum of civilization returned. But there was a new energy in the air, a sense of purpose, of unity. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a symbol of resilience and hope. In the aftermath of the war, humanity began to reach out beyond its own borders. New starships were built, not for war, but for exploration. Teams of diplomats, scientists, and explorers were dispatched to distant worlds, eager to learn more about the galaxy they had once feared. They were no longer content to remain isolated. They wanted to be a part of something greater. Yet, despite the hope and optimism, there was also a sober understanding that peace would not last forever. The Empire had suffered a humiliating defeat, but they had not been destroyed. Their reach still extended across vast sectors of the galaxy, and they would not forget the insult Earth had dealt them. Helena knew that, one day, the Empire would return. But she also knew that when that day came, humanity would be ready. They had learned from the past and would not be caught unprepared again. As Helena made her way to the council chamber, she felt a strange mix of emotions: pride for the incredible feats they had accomplished, sadness for the lives lost along the way, and determination for the future that still lay ahead. When she entered the chamber, the council members, leaders from across the planet, turned to face her. They stood in silence, waiting for her to speak. Helena paused for a moment, looking at the faces of the men and women who had guided Earth through its darkest hours. There was no need for a grand speech, no need for flowery words. "We did what we had to do," she said simply, her voice steady. "Now we rebuild, and we make sure that, when the time comes, we're stronger than ever." The council nodded in agreement, but there was a sense of something more, something deeper. This wasn't just about rebuilding cities or repairing ships. It was about rebuilding trust, hope, and a future that was no longer dictated by fear of the unknown. After the meeting, Helena found herself walking through the streets of her city, now restored to its former beauty. The people greeted her with smiles and waves, their faces filled with gratitude. Children ran up to her, excitedly telling stories of how they had watched the battle from their homes, how they had cheered every time a human ship won a skirmish. One young girl, no older than 8, tugged at Helena's sleeve. "Are the bad guys gone?" she asked innocently, her wide eyes full of hope. Helena knelt down to her level, smiling gently. "For now," she said, her voice soft, "but we're strong, and if they come back, we'll be ready." The girl grinned, satisfied with the answer, and ran off to join her friends. Helena watched her go, a warmth spreading through her chest. This was what they had fought for, not just to survive, but to protect a future where children could play without fear. As the sun set on the horizon, casting a golden glow over the landscape, Helena took a deep breath. The galaxy was vast, and there were still countless challenges ahead. But Earth had proven that it could stand against even the most powerful of enemies. Humanity had earned its place among the stars. And as long as they stood together, there was nothing they couldn't overcome. The stars above twinkled brightly, as if welcoming humanity into their embrace. The journey was far from over, but for the first time in a long time, Helena felt a sense of peace. the galaxy would never be the same again.